Before we begin, I want to take a moment to acknowledge that we're gathered on the traditional lands of Treaty 7 and that Banff National Park also covers Treaty 6 and 8. These lands are home to the Earhare Nakota Nations, Bearspaw, Chiniki, and Goodstoney, the Blackfoot Confederacy, including the Siksika, Kainai, and Piikani Nations, as well as the Tsuut'ina Nation, the Métis Nation of Alberta, and many others whose stories and connections to this place run deep. As someone who is so fortunate to call this place home, I recognize that the ability to live, work, and enjoy these incredible landscapes comes from a history that has had real impact on Indigenous peoples through displacement, loss of access, and broken relationships. We're grateful to be here today, and we carry a responsibility to keep learning, to listen to Indigenous voices, and to do our part in building relationships that honor both the land and the people who've always been its caretakers. Welcome to Between Peaks, the podcast where we explore the people, ideas, and stories shaping life in the Bow Valley. I'm Nancy Dedault, joined today by my co-host Jody Gamat, Programs Director at the Banff Canmore Foundation.
Hi, Nancy, and hello, everyone. I'm so glad we're doing this. Together, we're diving into an issue that connects us all, food insecurity. It's often hidden in plain sight, but behind every meal shared or missed, there is a story about access, dignity, and what it means to care for one another in a small community like ours. Our guest is Quinn Currado, Program Manager at the Homelessness Society of the Bow Valley. Quinn and his team lead the Community Food Cupboard, a pilot program that helps local residents and families access nutritious food when they need it the most. Through this work, they're helping shift how we think about hunger, not as an individual struggle, but as a shared community responsibility, and as part of a larger conversation about mental health, belonging, and resilience.
Quinn, it's great to have you here, and we look forward to hearing more about the cupboard, if I can shorten it that way.
Right on. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, awesome. Let's start off by just getting a little bit of information about behind the scenes. Can you tell me a little bit more about the Homelessness Society of the Bow Valley, and then we'll get into the actual program?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Homelessness Society of the Bow Valley, or kind of acronym that would usually go by HSBB, we're a local charitable organization here in Canmore, Banff, and kind of serving the whole Bow Valley. Yeah, so in the community, our mission is to foster a Bow Valley community where everyone has a safe, warm place to sleep. Our vision is that everyone in the Bow Valley has a safe and warm place to sleep and programs that meet their needs. So to meet those needs in the Bow Valley, we have two core programs, one being the Emergency Winter Shelter Program, and the other one being our outreach program. Historically, or kind of in the past, our outreach program has focused more kind of over the phone or over email. But now with the additional Community Cupboard program, we have a in-person version of the outreach program. So we kind of have a venue to offer that service alongside the cupboard itself.
Amazing. Can you tell us how the Community Food Cupboard pilot started? Who's the program serving? And what gap did you see in the community that made it necessary?
Yeah, absolutely. So the Community Food Cupboard program, it's a collaboration between the Bow Valley Food Bank, the Bow Valley Food Alliance, and FCSS Canmore, and then as well as ourselves, HSBB as the operator. So we're not the experts on food insecurity, but we do play a role in helping just with the programming and the operation side of things. Yeah, so the cupboard is held at the Canmore Community Housing office space in Canmore. It's just downtown, just kind of near Community, which is kind of a local gallery spot that I usually tell folks. We have a wayfinding map on our website as well if folks are interested in finding us.
I saw that.
Yeah.
That's really helpful.
It's handy. I made that kind of hoping that it would ease kind of confusion with the office space because they have their own programming there with Canmore Community Housing. So we have like our own little kind of core thing for right now. Yeah. And it's also funded by core community partners like the Town of Canmore and Canmore Foundation. So a huge shout out to everyone here and you guys of the Canmore Foundation. the program was initiated to kind of combat and fill in some gaps with food insecurity that we've seen in the Bow Valley, kind of rising. And that was
Can you describe a little bit about what food insecurity means?
totally, yeah. I myself am not an expert on food insecurity. That would be more so the Bow Valley Food Bank and the Bow Valley Food Alliance. So I think some perfect folks to interview for that maybe later on would be, I think it's Kathy Hagen with the Bow Valley Food Bank and Michelle Backhouse from Bow Valley Food Alliance. Yeah, they would be the total experts on that. We're just on the kind of programming side, but food insecurity for me, when I think of it, I think of, I think it's easy to go right into empty cupboards or missed meals, but I think about all the stuff that happens before that too. Just like the stress of not knowing when your next meal is going to come, not knowing how you're going to stretch your paycheck to cover those essential costs, like housing, food, clothes, whatever be it. So it's just all that stress compounding even before that decision to go to the grocery store comes into play.
Right.
So I think programs like the community food cupboard are fantastic to have around because it brings the community together to fill in those gaps where folks might be struggling to fill themselves.
That's the gap that you saw in terms of the community. I think you really described it well. So thanks for doing that. I had a little bit of a different interpretation, but that was really helpful, especially sort of down the line or at the start of the line, maybe even more so. How does the program work and who is it serving right now?
Yeah, so the program right now is held at Canmore Community Housing in the office space there, as I mentioned before. Right now, we're serving anybody in the community that finds themselves in a position where they might be struggling with food insecurity or no questions asked, no judgment. And the program can be completely anonymous too. We have a little office space kind of adjacent to where the cupboard sits. And folks can come in and they can chat with me, but they don't necessarily have to. They can just grab what they need.
Yeah, that's actually where we first met. And in the 20 minutes that I was sat there, I really noticed how like 4 people went into access. And I didn't have that knowledge before if I weren't in this space.
Totally, yeah. And we want to do that just to promote like dignity and let folks have the autonomy to choose what they need. And kind of what we said, we have we have posters all over the cupboard itself.
Yeah.
But we really wanted to focus on people and treat them as, just they deserve the necessities of, food. So we'd say take what you want, but keep others in mind. So there's no questions asked, there's no limit on what folks can take. That really worked really well for folks. They would take what they needed, but they would make sure that they leave enough for other folks to use it.
And I think the whole factor of if you need it, take it. And I remember when my children were in elementary school, there was a food for learning program and there was no questions asked. If a family needed it, they needed it. Nobody checked to see anything. And I thought that's how it should be.
Absolutely. Yeah, and we have the outreach program kind of as a support, and on the side of that, like I said before, it was just kind of over the phone or over email, but we have that in-person option. And we've got a lot of good feedback from that now too, that's kind of adjacent to the cupboard itself. So folks can use the cupboard and then they can come in and chat with me or whoever's there from our team, just about more kind of supports. We do systems navigation, community referrals, emergency supports, kind of contingent on our funding or your availability of other partners in the Bow Valley. Or we can get them connected to the seasonal emergency winter shelter too. And that'll be opening up November 1st. So
I saw that on your website. So, Quinn, tell us a little bit about what the response has been from the community on about this program.
Totally, yeah. So we've had kind of some ways to generate feedback, and that's what really fuels and drives the program forward is feedback from the folks that use it the most. We want to make sure that we're meeting the needs of everyone, and we're doing it in a respectful way and a way that's accessible as well. So folks have said that it's very accessible. It's in kind of a core spot in the downtown of Canmore. They really appreciate the kind of anonymity behind it. They don't necessarily have to chat with me or whoever's there. They can just walk in quietly and take what they need. We've seen a lot of use as well. I think I gave you an original estimate of around like 400 users within the about 5 months of operation. So the pilot started from May 26th and it'll conclude November 1st, and then it'll kind of look a little bit differently once the emergency winter shelter is open. because we have a little bit different programming with that. We just have to make sure that we're collaborating well with our partners and meeting everyone's schedules, myself included. So that's kind of the time frame. And in that time, we've seen actually 527 users. So that's over 61 days of operation. We weren't able to operate every day of the week. We operated Mondays, Tuesdays, and Fridays. Fridays from 9 to 3, and then Tuesdays from 10 to 4. And yeah, we just saw a lot of use. I think that we gave out about 1,100 granola bars. We gave out about 500 juice boxes or kind of small drinks.
Yeah.
In total, that's about 6,500 items across like everything that we stocked at the cupboard. And that number, it's basically enough to fill a small grocery store. So we basically handed out a small grocery store to folks that need it most.
What a great way to put it into a situation that people can relate to. So the nesters or
Exactly.
yeah. Wow, incredible. Yeah.
And I would say that the most popular item was I think granola bars were a big hit. Those juice boxes, like I said, or those small drinks. Sorry, my eyelash is poking me again. Or cup of noodles. Cup of noodles were really a big hit.
Yeah.
The ones you just add water to.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing.
Queen, I think with this conversation, we're learning that food insecurity can look different here in the Bow Valley. It's not just about having enough to eat. It's also about access and mental health and well-being. And now you earlier defined what food insecurity means to you. I wonder what other local factors like housing costs, tourism, seasonality, or access make this issue unique here from your point of view?
Yeah, that's a great question. And it's such a privilege to live in the Bow Valley. It's a stunning place, stunning mountains, really strong community, very like-minded individuals, and just everybody, I think, looks out for one another. Tourism is great, but all those things, those great benefits, they also kind of play a role in the challenges that we see in the Bow Valley as well. Kind of like sprawling landscapes, transportation between Canmore, Banff, Lake Louise, the whole Bow Valley, it can be a little challenging. And we're seeing some of the highest housing costs and cost of living in the entire province. So those things coupled together make it really challenging for folks just to get by and just to meet the essentials that they need in life. It's not necessarily that they're doing something wrong. It's just sometimes the numbers don't add up and the math just doesn't work out. So keeping those factors in mind, I've seen and from what I've heard from folks that have been using the program, it can be a real stressor on their lives. But the feedback that we've gotten has been really great with the program. Folks find that if they're being able to meet their kind of food necessities and just have that that sense of security with their, groceries or kind of snacks that they can get from the cupboard, they're able to focus their attention on other factors in their life that would be lacking or they might need more support with. So they can focus more on housing. They can focus more on just mental health supports that they may require.
Wow, amazing.
That makes total sense because I think when I was new here in the Valley, I was working in tourism, as we probably all have done that before. When someone asked me, how is it living in the Bow Valley, my answer was always, yeah, I can't complain. But now after seeing all the work that's being done, it's amazing. And it's also many other things.
Totally. Yeah, it's multifaceted.
Yeah.
But there's just so many gears turning all at once. And the tourism is such a big thing as well, like you kind of hinted at. Folks might have to stretch kind of what they're earning in the summer because it's kind of peak season over the winter. And it's a bit unpredictable at times too. So, yeah.
With that said, how do you think food insecurity affect people's needs and focuses? Or maybe like what other intersections are you seeing in the field of food insecurity?
Yeah, so I think kind of like the previous question, we've seen it play roles in folks' mental health and just how they're able to get by from a day-to-day kind of basis. They might be, stretching their paychecks just to cover the cost of food or cover the cost of the rise in cost of living in Bow Valley. Housing is a big one. There's just limited housing inventories in the Bow Valley. So those stressors together, it really takes a toll and weighs heavy on someone's mind. So I think bringing communities together, bringing collaborators together, like all of our partners, to meet this need and fill that gap, it just makes it so much easier for folks to focus on what's needed the most in their lives and give them the dignity and respect.
Totally. And I was reflecting on this too last night because I was realizing that, oh, we could actually go to work and not have any idea whether the people that we work with are experiencing food insecurity, or, like my colleague said, you could go to a restaurant and have no idea if the person serving you are thinking about when is their next food is going to be. And that also translates to employment and how tourism is, being supported by these people who are actually encountering these very real problems as well.
For sure, it can be so invisible, and that's something that we saw at the shelter too. Is housing insecurity can also look like a kind of an invisible here in the Bow Valley. It's a very unique place for that. So yeah, it could be your neighbor, it could be a coworker, it could be friend, family, whoever. It could be any of us, all of us. It's a community wide kind of challenge.
And it's not unique just to the Bow Valley. There's multiple, especially mountain destinations that are impacted by this. And to hear of these stories is really fantastic.
Yeah. There's so many unique challenges with a rural kind of community in the mountains, but it is a stunning place. And I think that's what attracts a lot of folks here. But then those challenges might also fall into place too.
Yeah. Going off of what you shared about it being multifaceted, so this work does not happen in isolation, is what we know. It takes partnership, it takes persistence and community trust. What partnerships make the community food cupboard possible? And I think you've mentioned some of them earlier. And how do these collaborations, like the one with BCF, help sustain it?
Yeah, another good question. And I just want to say we're so thankful of all our partners and collaborators, our funders, Town of Canmore and the Banff Canmore Foundation, that really fuel the program and have realized that the gap is there and the need is there, and wanted to kind of help support that. Our experts in the matter in food insecurity, again, would be the Bow Valley Food Alliance and the Bow Valley Food Bank. They kind of give us direction and voice and help kind of lead the background stuff. I'm really just the face of the cupboard, or my colleagues or partners as well. We just do kind of the operations and programming side at Canmore Community Housing. But it's great to have so many voices come together, and the Canmore FCSS team also is a big role. They help with logistics and picking up the food donations from the food bank, kind of doing a little bit of storage, and then also helping cover the program when myself or my colleagues are in kind of a different program or doing other things for the shelter or the outreach side bits. Yeah.
Well, and I heard you talk about Michelle Backhouse, and I think she's part of the Bow Valley Food Alliance.
Yes.
Is that right? And she's just been elected to council with the town of Banff. And I think it's great that she's bringing this area of expertise and have this breadth of what else goes on in Banff beyond the beauty and beyond the recreation and beyond just kind of, having fun. So it's great that she's going to be able to contribute a little bit differently to our community that way as well.
It's also nice to see how these organizations work together. And so supporting the work of other organizations sometimes also means indirectly supporting the work of the other organizations.
Exactly. Yeah. We're sharing voices, we're sharing information, we're sharing trust, we're sharing data, and that all kind of goes together to make it just so much easier for us to do our own programs individually, but also connect. Just to avoid like kind of repetition or duplication.
Yeah. And maximizing the resources that are out there to make it all more effective.
Speaking of resources, I think volunteers also make this work really possible. So how has volunteerism evolved in your programs, and what keeps people engaged?
Yeah, good question. So most of our volunteers, they really play roles in things outside of the cupboard. This is it's a new pilot, but our volunteers kind of fuel our community swaps at the library in Canmore. We have volunteers at the coldest night of the year walkathon in and around the Bow Valley, and also with our fall fundraiser that's coming up November 12th.
Okay.
But we've had such great input from volunteers, and they're really the heart of our programming as well. We've had folks with the Canmore FCSS team. They've covered like I mentioned before from time to time. So I would consider that volunteer work. They might be working within their roles, but they're willing to kind of step aside and cover the covered. So yeah, it's great having feedback from volunteers and having them on board. Our shelter program, we have employees for the shelter program,
Okay.
shelter support workers. And we had a supervisor this year as well. And the outreach team, it's a bit limited right now. We still kind of are evolving in that area, but our volunteers are mostly kind of more for fundraising initiatives and doing the fun, really fun stuff.
Yeah. And you've mentioned the emergency winter shelter, which is about to reopen. What changes on programming should we know about?
So just to clear everything up, so the program ran from the pilot program with the community food cupboard ran from May 26th, and it'll be concluding November 1st. There isn't anything clearly defined right now, but it will change a little bit hours wise, and just kind of logistics and programming wise, just because the shelter will be opening up. So for more information on that, please stay tuned on our website, or you can check us out on social media too, at Bow Valley Shelter or at bowvalleyshelter.ca.
Awesome. Quinn, being client facing, I imagine that it's a lot of mental and emotional labor as well. I wonder what gives you hope about how our community is responding to these challenges, and what do you need from our community?
Yeah, I love that question. It can be challenging at times. It's not just food insecurity, as we talked about. It's other kind of insecurities or struggles that folks may be facing in the Bow Valley: housing, transportation, just lifestyle in general, just feeling like they belong. And I just want to really shout out that everyone belongs in this community. And I think it's so important when I see everyone coming together in the community, like ourselves here in this space, all the partners that kind of combine for these programs. Everyone, I'm kind of new to the Valley. I've only been here for 2 years, but it's a really special place. And I've seen that folks, collaborators, people that really deeply care for this, they act out loud. Yeah, so something that gives me hope is just the community acts out loud, and we all work together to share our voices and to share our programming and resources. And I think that's really a big special thing in the community. People want to look out for their neighbors. They want to look out for, their colleagues, students, whatever it may be. And we all work together to combat these really big problems in the Bow Valley. It's almost impossible to do it alone, but when we all work together, we can do so much more as a team. And that's what gives me a lot of hope as I see that day in and day out, especially when I get emails or phone calls from folks in the community that are like, hey, we really want to donate socks, or we want to donate food to the food cupboard. And the food cupboard, it stays alive because the Bow Valley Food Bank is there, because the Bow Valley Food Alliance is there, and because neighbors are there as well saying, hey, I've seen this program. How can I help? And I think that's just such a powerful question, because it really shows how much people care and how much they want to do. Even knowing that maybe it's not a lot, but even the smallest thing will be dramatic and life-changing for some. And I think to answer the kind of second question there, what we need from the community, it's just keep at it, keep talking about it, keep talking about the issues, keep working together, and keep believing that the little things can make a big change. They can.
Makes me want to pay a little more attention to my next Costco run. Like, can I box up and drop off?
Totally.
Yeah, especially when you talk about the granola bars. Yeah.
I love that you are speaking to that, the complex issues, because I feel like we all have different lenses coming into this. But what we really see is that these issues are complex and intersecting. And sometimes there's no clear, straightforward solution. But what the community covered program is teaching me is that there are achievable and doable things. And if you want to be part of a solution, there's a way to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And, it can look differently depending on where you are in life. It could be knowing about the resource so you can share it when you feel like someone might be in need. It can be volunteering your time or just being in community at one of their community swaps.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Just being there and, some other people can talk to. Or if you really have hard-earned money that you can donate to, find an organization that aligns with your values. I know HSBV is now a registered charity. It's correct. Can provide charitable tax receipt. And if you're someone who's maybe just exploring what community priorities you can contribute to, BCF also has the BCF Community Fund that directly powers the community grant program, which supports projects like the Community Cupboard and other amazing projects like Barefoot and Friends. And then we also supported last year the Food Hamper by ER in Nakota Food Bank Society. And my favorite was this solar energy installation by St. Michael's Anglican Church, which by the title of it doesn't seem related to food. But the really beautiful thing about it is whatever amount they're saving from the solar energy actually benefits their food program.
The money goes into that.
Yeah, and so people already have these really creative solutions. And yes, the problems are complex, but there is something that anyone can do. Anyone can be a part of like the solution.
Definitely. Yeah. And there's, like you said, there's just so much hope there when those things come together. Yeah. And just talking about it too, kind of like we've been chatting about, if folks come into the space, and they're focused on, food, then that's the conversation we'll have. We meet them where they're at, kind of in that, in that tone. And maybe we'll pass them along to Banff Food and Friends or Canmore Food and Friends. And yeah, it's just such a special place to be, to be able to pass along those resources and have someone walk out of the cupboard knowing that they were heard, they were listened to, and there is support out there.
And their step is a little bit lighter as a result of it. Exactly. Yeah.
And a weight is off their shoulders.
Yeah. Quinn, thanks for sharing this story about the community cupboard. Do you want to share the metrics or the data behind these stories that you just shared?
Yeah, totally. So something that's been a really big hit in collaboration or kind of in tandem with the Community Food Cupboard program is our outreach program. As I kind of mentioned before, it's mostly been over the phone or over email, and it's been a little bit difficult for folks to connect with us in person. But now that we have a space, we have an office space adjacent to the cupboard, folks can come in from the community that are needing, extra or referrals within the community, emergency supports or kind of systems navigation. So through the outreach program that we offer, and again, the folks that use the cupboard, they don't necessarily have to chat with me. That can be anonymous. But for the folks that do come in, we've been able to offer 80 clients that have come in, services that meet their needs. We've given out 78 of our Mountain Fire Foods hot meals that's funded by the Bow Valley Food Bank and provided by Chef Damien at Mountain Fire Foods in Canmore. That program itself will be moving back to the emergency winter shelter on November 1st once it opens up again. So that won't be something that's offered at the community food cupboard or the outreach office moving forward. And we've also been able to hand out shower pass tickets with Elevation Place in Canmore. So the town of Canmore and Elevation Place, they put on this shower pass program where folks can get a shower pass and they can use that pass to access the showers there. We've handed out about 50 of those over the course of the outreach program at the cupboard. Yeah. So the kind of stats are there, the data is there. We've met a lot of needs in the community, meeting folks where they're at when they come into the cupboard and they chat about what is affecting them most at the moment. We do our best to kind of meet those needs.
And that's really helpful to visualize the impacts of these programs. Like when you talk about 80 meals, what does that look like in a table?
Totally. Yeah. Yeah. And it's about, so over the course of the 61 days, that's about one guest that's come in to access the outreach program a day. I can see like shadows of people that walk in, but I don't know who they are. So I can see like how many people come in a day to use the program. So out of unique, we don't track unique individuals. We just track folks that use the program. So there could be returning folks from day to day. Right. And that number is 527. So that's about 8 guests on average a day over the 61 days of operation. Of the folks that have actually met face-to-face that have come in to use the outreach program, we've served 80 people with systems navigation, community referrals, emergency supports, kind of contingent on funding and availability. And that's about, one guest for each day of the operating period.
And Quinn, I really appreciate how you called the people that are coming in guests, because that alone adds such an element of dignity to people that I really tip my hat for you using that expression in terms of describing who the people that are coming in.
I appreciate that. And, I find it such a better word than, users or visitors could be another good one, or clients. But to me, sometimes client seems a little cold. I guess is like, you're welcome, you're invited, you belong here, you're meant to be here.
Food is a gathering for people.
Exactly.
It's again, that connection we've talked so much about today, but that connection, and breaking bread and how that connects you even deeper.
Yeah, and those other programs, those kind of vital programs in the community, like Food and Friends, Banff, Canmore, it's all about connection. The food is there as an essential, as a necessity, but another core kind of component to a community is just connection and meeting others face to face, and that's what I love so much about the Bow Valley is everyone hearts beat together.
Yeah, I feel like if I'm called a guest, then my presence is a gift here.
Well, we treat people differently when they're our guest. Then, in your own home, well, you treat your siblings the way you treat your siblings. But when guests come, you put your best foot forward, you got your good hat on, and away you go.
And there are gifts at the door, and gifts on the way out, possibly, and that's you don't feel like an intruder.
No, absolutely. Quinn, if you could leave our listeners with one message, what would you want them to hear?
Yeah, I love that question. And it kind of goes again to just community, to connection, to believing that the little things matter, and that one small act of kindness can have a kind of rippling effect within the community. It's not just affecting one person. It's not just affecting one group of people. It's all of us that are impacted by this. When the community suffers, we all suffer. So I think it's just really vital that we look out for one another. We keep an eye on one another. We chat with our neighbors. We chat with our friends. We check in with people. And we just try to meet folks where they're at. I want to leave off with a quote from one of my favorite authors, Gabor Mate. He said that safety is not the absence of a threat, but instead it's the presence of connection. I think that speaks volumes to the Banff Canmore community and the whole Bow Valley. I think when we band together, there's just so much that can be achieved.
Incredible.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's really.
Sharing that.
Quinn, thanks so much. And a big thank you to the whole team at the Bow Valley Homelessness Society for your compassion and care that you bring to our community. And if people would like to learn more about the food cupboard and other ways to support local food security efforts and what it means to be unhoused and homeless, please go to bowvalleyshelter.ca. Is that the right?
You got it. And
Okay, fantastic.
bowvalleyshelter.ca or at Bow Valley on Instagram, Facebook.
Okay.
If you connect with our outreach line, that's on the website. I don't have the number off the top of my head. I don't want to mess it up and you call the wrong number.
Yeah.
Or connect with us over email. It's just at outreach@bowvalleyshelter.com or .ca.
Fantastic. All right. Well, Quinn, thanks again. And Jody, it's been great co-hosting this one with you. And for our listeners, we look forward to having you back. And have a great day. And thanks again.
Lovely to be here. Yeah. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
Between Peaks was produced and edited by Calder Penny at Farside Films. Executive Director Courtney Babbitt at Widely Open, and music by Arn Smith. A big thank you to the whole Banff Canmore Foundation team. We also want to thank all of our guests, our volunteers, our funders, and every community member.